do you have any like further thoughts as we kind of close the chapter on the Deep South's oldest rivalry?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can start with the big thing that everyone's been talking about, which is the officiating. Yeah, I mean, we got the immediate reaction to the goal line fumble play and then the timeout fiasco. I don't think that. I mean, maybe this is just me being. Maybe I'm just a biased Georgia fan, but like, I don't think that it was as egregious. That fumble play was some robbery of the game, like a lot of people seem to be saying. I thought C.J. Allen punched that ball out before it crossed the goal line, and Kyron Jones recovered it. And I'm not really mad at them not giving Georgia the touchdown, but like technically that's probably what should have happened instead of Auburn scoring a touchdown. So as much has been made of the refs, being the ones that decided this game, I don't think that's true. I think it has more to do with Auburn getting held to 40 yards of total offense in the second half and Georgia making the plays when it needed to. But not a great game by Georgia either.
Yeah, I think two things can be true. And Thomas T-Bone chiming in here. Go Dogs. Thomas, appreciate you watching live. But two things can be true. These refs could have done an awful job and also not decided the game. Mm-hmm. Like, because you look at those two plays, because I've thought more and more about it, just seeing so many opinions about the goal line play. And it's like, it is super close. At the end of the day, you fumbled. You fumbled on the goal line. Like, maybe you fumbled an inch after you crossed the goal line. Maybe it was an inch before. But, like, you did fumble, and you left that up to the referee. Like, the defense made a play, punched the ball out. You didn't clearly score. So it's like you can't even really be that mad. Like, you're kind of bailed out if you get a touchdown there because Georgia made a play. You just kind of got lucky that you were an inch across the goal line at that point. So, I as big as it was, I don't think you can just act like you got cheated because you should have been up 17-0. Like, it's definitely not that simple.
Yeah, I agree. I think you could definitely argue that it wasn't a great call, but like you go back and you watch the broadcast, like those commentators were acting like it was the worst call of all time. I mean, McDonough was like, "Oh my, I can't believe that I don't see it at all. What are they looking at?" It's like it wasn't that level of a call, man. It wasn't Saints Rams 2018, NFC title game. Like it wasn't that. I think it was a perfectly reasonable call to be like, yeah, that ball came loose before the goal line. It did.
For sure. Like, it's clearly close. Like, whatever you want to call, like, it's close. And that's what the annoying part was watching the broadcast is it felt like they weren't even acknowledging that it was close. They were just like, oh, well, it should be 17-0. Georgia's got the ball in the next possession. Yeah, it's like, well, after that last possession, it should be 17. Like, they kept mentioning it, and it's like it wasn't a bad enough call to just continue to mention it. It was just like poorly officiated because how long did it take? I think I've seen the stat that like the last 2 minutes took like 32 minutes of like actual time or something like that. And it's like that's an officiating error, like you have to clear that up. Like, I guarantee you, if they opened up the replay review stuff like the ACC did, it's not going to take 32 minutes. No. Like, obviously the one review didn't take 32 minutes, but like, it's not going to take that long. No. Like, you're going to speed it up. And I really do wonder what the call is if they call touchdown on the field. Like, do they overturn it? Because personally, I don't think he scored. I think I took a screenshot just kind of on my phone when I was rewatching it and then kind of like drew the line on my Apple photos, but like I think like because you can kind of pair up the two videos, the pylon cam is just an absolutely perfect view of it. Yeah. But then you have like the more high definition view, like actually of the pile, and CJ Allen clearly jars it loose the second his hand comes in there. So it's like if you pair that up with his hand coming in there and knowing as soon as his hand gets in there, he no longer has control of it. And you see the biggest thing the pylon cam showed was his hands shift. And as soon as his hands shift around the ball, he doesn't have control of it anymore. Like, that's why his hand, Jackson Arnold's hands moved. So, yeah, it was clearly close. So I don't understand the people just acting like they got robbed. And then the other one that everyone's talking about that we really didn't have the hindsight of or the full picture of when we went live was the timeout. And it at least makes a lot more sense when Kirby Smart is saying, no, I'm saying they were clapping, because it was like some straight Alex Rodriguez versus the Red Sox thing. You remember that where he like knocks the ball out of the the pitcher's hand, and he's like, no, this is just my normal running motion. What do you mean? And it's like, dude, no, we all saw you just slap the ball out of his hand. Like, it looked like Kirby's saying, no, I'm just clapping. And then he's like clearly calling timeout. So it makes more sense to know, no, they're clapping, they're clapping. And you heard like even the hot mic pick it up too.
Yeah.
But with all that said, he still called timeout. Like, why is it not a timeout? He's clearly signaling timeout, and the ref gave the timeout. So either it's a penalty on Auburn for the whole disconcerting signals or whatever, or it's a delay of game, or it's a timeout for Georgia, and they just chose none of the above. So it was, I don't know, at least Georgia. And that's another thing, as controversial as that was, honestly, the call on Cash Jones is probably worse. Like that. That's not a blind side. The dude sees him. He's kind of coming parallel at him. Yeah, it's a terrible call. Maybe it's a makeup call, but Georgia ends up with 0 points on that drive. So, yeah, that goal line play, I mean, theoretically, it should have been a 14-point swing because it should have been a touchdown for Georgia. But it's like that it took whatever. Georgia ends up 10-3, right? You can say it took points off the board, I guess, if you want, as an Auburn fan. But the timeout didn't have a point, whatever I'm trying to say, penalty. There was no points from that bad decision, from that referee mistake. So it's like that was kind of a no harm, no foul. So as the bad of a job as it felt like the refs did, they didn't actually decide this game.
Yeah, 100%. I think that timeout call was definitely horribly managed by the referees. As impassioned of a defense as Kirby Smart gave after the game for like, no, I was calling him out because they're clapping and that's a penalty. Like, you see on the camera, he does this. This is not clapping. You don't clap doing that. But I agree. I mean, it didn't decide the game. I think that people kind of lose the concept of like, you can have bad officiating in a game that doesn't decide the game. And I think that's just what happened here. But yeah, that goal line play was, I've heard the argument that like, Auburn was so dejected after the way that the half ended that it killed all the momentum they had. And that's why they came out all flat in the second half. But it's like, that's kind of more of a you problem to me than something reflecting on the refs. Like if you're going to be that depressed about that one call and it's going to inhibit your ability to, play football, like, I think that kind of falls on the coaching a little bit. I mean, you listen to Hugh Freeze's halftime, conference with the sideline reporter, and he was like, trashing the call and talking about how unfair it was, and it's okay for him to feel that way, but I just feel like his attitude about it was so negative that maybe it permeated onto the rest of the team, and that's why we saw the second half that we did.
Dude, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. Like I said something similar because it was what you're saying about, oh, that's why we lost because the fans are so like, I think that is true and it shouldn't be true, but it was true. And it's 100% because of Hugh Freeze. Like the way he was talking to that reporter, it felt like they just lost. For one, it felt like the game was over. Like it felt like this was a post-game interview. Like, and it felt like you really lost. Like, it's like, dude, like, I don't know, the way he stopped himself from talking multiple times, like, because he probably didn't want to get fined for criticizing officiating. Like, it's just, he was so, like, the way he laughed, like, maybe we'll catch a break one of these days. It's like, you have a second half to play. Like, what are you, I don't know. It was just, he was so rattled that I 100% agree with you. Like, they lost that game when they went to the locker room, just with the vibes they came out in the second half with.
Yeah, and obviously Georgia's defense, got their crap together for the second half, which is definitely the biggest, I guess, on-field reason for that game turning the tide. But really, I mean, Auburn looked so defeated after the first half. It's like, you guys are winning. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was weird, and I do feel a lot of Auburn fans' frustration about this game. I'm not going to sit here and act like they have no right to be angry with the way that it was handled by the officials, but I can't get on board with this whole idea that the referees caused Auburn to lose the game. I just can't. And maybe that's me being a biased Georgia guy, but I don't think that, Auburn had it and they were going to win and the refs made them lose. I just don't agree with that assessment.
Well, and that's like where I might give them some credit is like just being at a college football game these days, and the timeouts and the commercials just totally take you out of it so often. And there was just so many reviews in this game and stoppages that like maybe it felt like the crowd was kind of taken out of the game early on, like, I mean, that's definitely an excuse, but like I can kind of understand because this game did have like an exceptional amount of breaks, it seemed like. So I can understand that a little bit, but even like getting back to Hugh Freeze, like that was part of the halftime thing. He said like, "Oh, there's so many stoppages. I don't know how many timeouts they gave Georgia." Like, as if your team didn't also get a break when all these stoppages.
Auburn had to keep playing.
Yeah, like it's so weird to act like Georgia's not doing any of this like faking injuries or something. Like there's nothing like that Georgia was doing to feel like, oh, the refs are just unnecessarily measuring too many 3rd and shorts or something. Like that's not a Georgia thing. Like, I don't know. So it's just another thing that it felt like Hugh Freeze was rattled by. And yeah, I mean, I did expect to get Auburn's best game of the season playing at home for once, or them playing at home for once this year. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. How much longer does the Hugh Freeze tenure really last, like, at this point?
Not much longer. And I just think that right now this game is being spun as Auburn got robbed. And in a lot of ways, they did kind of get robbed. That that timeout thing was ridiculous. I fully agree with Auburn fans there. But right now, the game is being spun like that. But I think in a few, I don't know, weeks, months, maybe, whenever the time comes where Auburn is trying to fire Hugh Freeze and their fans are justifying it, they're going to come back to this game a lot, I think. And Hugh Freeze is just overall, the way that he acted, his decorum, I guess you could say, just everything that he did following that fumble on the goal line is just like, this guy's not the coach for Auburn. I mean, this is not a guy that you want. This guy that's going to point fingers and make excuses, like in the middle of the game too. I mean, it was crazy to watch. Like, so I don't know. That would be my biggest takeaway from that game, from an Auburn perspective, is like the officiating was bad, but the way Hugh Freeze handled it was arguably even worse. And Auburn kind of felt like they had lost the game before it was even over in that second half. I mean, they looked so inspired in that first half. They looked so fired up. They looked so ready to go. They were killing Georgia. They were murdering them.
Yeah, and that defense is legit too. And you're an offensive-minded guy, and now this is year 3 of your offense just being awful. Like,
horrible. And you see it there with Auburn. They've got a good defense. They've got really talented guys on the perimeter on offense. Cam Coleman is going to be one of the best players in the NFL one day, but it's not coming together for one reason or another. They're just kind of they sleptwalked through that second half. They felt like they played like they played like they were already losing, and that's a coaching thing. For that with Georgia.
They've scored 37 points total in their 3 SEC games this year. But, I don't think there's a lot of teams that have played as tough of a slate as at Oklahoma, at A&M, and Georgia in their first 3 games. So it's in their first 3 SEC games, but it's tough. Like, you look at their schedule: Missouri, at Arkansas, Kentucky, at Vanderbilt, Mercer, and then you get Alabama. Like, a normal Auburn team should beat all of those teams. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, Missouri is definitely better. I would say Missouri is definitely better than Auburn right now. It wouldn't shock you just in general for Auburn to go out and beat Missouri, but I don't know with how much like negativity it feels like there's around Hugh Freeze. I don't know. I'm curious to like what the quit, like, just like what the quit potential is in this team. Like, because there's a lot of winnable games, and theoretically, if this team went 9-3, I'm not saying they're going to rattle off 6 straight here. Like, they probably have the schedule that they could get some playoff love. I don't know. It's a whole process of a rankings thing, but I don't know. It's they're not thinking college football playoff or anything right now on the plains. But yeah, it's a ridiculous schedule this year. But I don't know. At this point, Vanderbilt, Missouri will be favored. I mean, at Arkansas, I don't know. I don't know how many wins they even get on this slate, even though it's traditionally Auburn's better than all of these teams remaining on their schedule. Other than Alabama. And I think that's kind of the problem why you want to fire Hugh Freeze, because you should feel really good about this next 5-game stretch before Alabama, and who knows how many Auburn will even be favored in.
Yeah, that'll be weird to see for sure. I mean, I can totally see them giving Alabama the game of their life, though. Like, that seems entirely possible to me. I mean, they are a tough team and they're really talented, but when you lose, I mean, they've now lost 2 games to rival schools that they feel like the referees jobbed them, and that's a really tough thing to come back from mentally if you really get to feeling sorry for yourself about it. But if they just say, hey, we're going to just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and go back to work and not worry about it.